Hey, welcome to episode 100 and what is where we are now? 112 of the Corey Shepherd podcast. Welcome back to everybody who's been listening. Welcome to all the new listeners. Now, here what's going on this week, right? Few things happened this week and we have some things to talk about, right? We have a long list and we had to get to it. But nothing more important than the Mighty Sparrow. Let's see Sparrow get baptized this week. No, I ain't laughing. Sparrow went and turned his life over to the Lord in the Seventh-day Adventist Church. We're glad for Dr. Bird, the great slinger Francisco. But let me tell you something. When I watch this video, you know what you watch, right? If you're on YouTube with my watches, my boy in his shades, he having a rough time holding up Sparrow. Watch your face, right? Watch your face.
Heaven is rejoicing.
Amen. Man. You had to talk fast, Pastor. Yeah. Right. Oh, God. You man under pressure. Pastor. Let's bunch of tell Pastor. All right, let we go. Amen. We happy for Dr. Bird. We happy for the dog, this Mighty Sparrow getting baptized this week. Something that many people would have thought they were going to never live to see. But my purpose and sole duty here is to come and play Kaiso and Calypso. I want you to remember at all times that this podcast is always a comedy show. It has nothing serious happening here. So I don't want nobody feel no way. And this is always about the Kaiso. And I decided to come and play some Sparrow and baptize and give his life to the Lord. I don't know if he will ever sing some of these songs again. I'm not even sure if he's in a state of health to perform, because on a serious note, some parts say it look a little worrying when I see they carry him by the sea and they have him lie down on a gurney. So I ain't looking like himself, looking, you know what I mean? He put on some size and things. So the legends and the icons reaching that age, and of course, you know, my argument is always to give them the flowers while they're still here. So here he doctorate. He had the Honorary Republic of Trinidad and Tobago. He have a statue. I say name some more streets after him, you know. I know. You can't please Trinidadians, you know. Let me talk about myself for a minute, right? Before I get back into Sparrow here. Because at school up, I dropped Zachary to school. I carried him down to, I have to pass on Lord Shorty High Street every day. And this is why I can't please Africa, you know, because I was so glad the name Shorty, the short street after Lord Shorty. Until I drive down that street and see how dry that street is, and it's a kind of throwaway street in San Antonio. And know about High Street. So look at give you that about Sparrow Street, Rushwood Street. Any of them streets available? Some of them streets need to name after the Calypsonians like Sparrow too. But I took it upon myself today to come and play some of these songs that might have caused the great Mighty Sparrow to feel like if he need to get baptized in his latter years. And I'm going to start with this one, right? Let me start light now. Yes. Original version, eh? Yes.
Two white women traveling through Africa. Themselves in the hands of a cannibal headhunter. He cook up one and he eat one raw. They taste so good, he wanted more. Me want more. I envy the Congo man. I wish I could have go and shake his hand. He eat until his stomach upset, and I never eat a white beef yet. Peeping through the bushes to see what's taking place. There I saw the Congo going to take a look at this. He opened me eye, he start to grin, rubbing the belly, he mumbling. I envy the Congo man. He better than me, I feel to shake his hand. If you know how much strap I set until I sweat, but I never eat a white beef yet. He tied them up and he put them to lay down on the ground. Light up the fire and he started dancing round and round. One of the women started to beg. He bites you on your chest, he bites you on your leg. He hits you raw. I envy the Congo man. He better than me, I feel no shaky hand. You know he eat until his stomach upset. You know me, I never catch. All you believe that, all you like to believe that. A man like me travel all about. The next one started screaming with all the voice she got. He lifts she up and he puts she inside a big pot. And when the water was warm, she started to wiggle. The Congo started to laugh and giggle. I envy the Congo man. I wish I could have go and shake the hand. He eat until his stomach upset, and I never get away.
So the Mighty Sparrow, undisputed Calypso king of the world, was baptized. Well, wait, let me take off this because with all due respect to the church. Mighty Sparrow, the undisputed Calypso king of the world, was baptized on Saturday at Far Rockaway Beach in Queens, New York, USA. Now, I would like to advise the pastor to try to get a beach with a little calmer waters, you know what I mean? What happens to baptizing people in pool and thing, you know what I mean? We only need still waters to do this thing, you know? It can be, anyway. According to the Searchlight newspaper in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Sparrow 87, whose real name is Slinger Francisco, was taken into the water of holy baptism by Vincentian Seventh-day Adventist pastor Claudius Morgan. Morgan himself, a former Calypsonian, carried the sobriquet Samaritan singer. If you're a sobriquet Samaritan singer, you're en route to being a pastor, right? So salute to Pastor Morgan. Find some calmer waters, right? The paper said that Sparrow, who now resides in Queens, was dressed in all white for his water baptism. Well, you see that, right? He is now known as Brother Francisco and is a member of the Linden Seventh-day Adventist Church in New York, the Searchlight said. While celebrating his 87th birthday in July, the legendary Slinger Francisco told the Express that he felt wonderful. The publication said that Sparrow, who was born on July 9, 1935, was expected to spend his special day listening to Radio I-95.5 FM tribute dub Sparrow Day. Salute to John Gill and everybody over at I-95.5. That is an honor for somebody like Sparrow to say that is how they're spending the 87th birthday. That is an honor. The Express said the musical buffet hosted by presenters John Gill and John Wayne featured a slew of Sparrow classics, like Gene and Dinah Sasaye, both of them drunk and disorderly, survival, capitalism gone mad, and education. Sparrow grew up in Port of Spain, the Trinidad capital, was born in the fishing village of Grand Roy, Grenada. I thought it was Guave. He moved to Trinidad and Tobago as a 1 year old with his mother. His father relocated here in 1937. Sparrow, who is also a songwriter and guitarist, is regarded as one of the most renowned and most successful Calypsonians. He won the Road March 8 times, Calypso Monarch 8 times, and has won twice Calypso King titles. King of Kings. And reflecting on his life and career on his 87th birthday, Sparrow told the Express, "Everybody gone and left me. Wins for Divine Divines, celebrated songwriter who wrote one of his mega hits. I was just looking at the video with Kitsch, and we were dancing and carrying on stage. Now he's gone. I was looking at another video, We Are the World. It had a host of performers like Shadow. He's gone. Is We Are the World? We Are the World is not Michael Jackson, no? We are the world, we are the children. I think he mean now is the time. Does he mean now is the time that he's saying we are the world? Maybe now is the time, right? Now is the time to do the things we say. Now is the time to help in any way. Give. Now is the time. If you can't remember that, you're too young, right? Sparrow said guitarist George Victory and artists like the Fosto, Rootsman, Brigo, and Penguin have all passed on. Shagalos are Krukra in the video. They still hear. Sparrow continued. It was a beautiful experience working with all of them. In July 2010, the United States Congress listed Sparrow in its congressional record. As a Caribbean community in New York on July 9th, 2010, Sparrow celebrated his 75th birthday. Caribbean American Congresswoman Yvette Clarke said that she ensured that Sparrows was listed in the record. All right, I wanted to see if his stance changed on some of the earlier calypsos. They didn't really say anything about that. I guess this what they're talking about here is when they interviewed him on his birthday. They didn't say much about him after being baptized. And you know, sometimes when people baptize and they join the church, that's it. They turn away from everything they used to do before. You say you're born again, right? So it's a whole new life, right? And like Lady So is a good example of that, who sing certain kind of songs and these kind of things, rain anybody calling and all this thing, and then she done. She does not perform or sing any of those songs or acknowledge those songs. Christopher Tambu Herbert is another one. Road March in 88 and 89 and 90. Not Me Is the Music. And how good is my memory? Not Me Is the Music and No, We Ain't Going Home. That's 2 road marches, I hope. Back-to-back road marches, but join the church and he don't perform those songs again. He have his own repertoire of gospel songs that he does now. So I'm not sure if Sparrow perform. I haven't seen Sparrow perform in a long time. And I had the pleasure with my father and the band to play for Sparrow once. And we play a few songs. Education, I'll probably play this in this episode too. Just to be fair, because my plan is to play plenty Sparrow smatter to tell you why he might have feel like baptizing is a good idea, just to make sure he on the right side when things. But I just planned I'll squeeze education in the mix. The school now reopen, right? So, to show you that the man had balance, right? Great artist and entertainer. But yeah, a song like Education, I think we play for him. A few songs. I can't remember the songs themselves. But what I will tell you is, when we went up, this is what I call expert musicians I up there with. A bassman by the name of Nolly Mitu, the best box bassman you'll ever hear. My father playing guitar, who a perfect pitch, and his hearing is amazing. A fellow named Darren Ellis on the pan, also perfect pitch. And I go on up there with my quattro halfway. It ain't tuned so right and all them thing, and I'm playing while we in the hideaway waiting for him to come out. I'm playing one of my favorite songs at the time. Rose, girl, I want you bad. Girl, I want you bad. I go and staring mad, oh Lord. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Rose, darling, can't you see? Darling, can't you see? You mean so much to me, oh Lord. Oh Lord, oh Lord. Why should you leave me? Why you deceive me? Rose, you're looking for blows. Oh, why? Tell me why you leave me. Whoever knows, all I want is Rose, oh Lord. Oh Lord, oh Lord. So I played that, and listen, that man come out walking. Well, them days he need help to walk already. This might be 10 years ago, maybe. Or probably even more than that. And he had two, what I assume was nurses at his side helping him walk out and thing. And the first thing that man says, that instrument's out of tune and that's not the right chords. So let's say that man is singing and play guitar and the man know what is he saying. The man is on point with his hearing. If Darren and them are perfect pitch, Sparrow are perfect pitch too, as far as I'm concerned. He's not missing nothing when he come out there and he listening to it. So we correct it and we went through a rehearsal with him. We went and we had a drummer who joined us on the day too by the name of Biter. I believe he was a Congos man for Song Rev. And it was just an honor and a great experience for me to play for him, play anything, you know what I mean? And them days is heavy shadowing I doing to it because education, for a basic little music player like me, who is a kind of rum side quattro man, education has some little chord movements, something that I never really play, and some of the chords I don't know. So heavy times, right? When you know chords and thing like we're playing just now, you know? Education, this is the foundation. Our rising population needs more education. You see, so when you get lost, you do so. You ain't playing a single chord in the mix there. When you see it's time to shadow, you have to know to shadow too as a musician, right? But it was an experience for him because the Presentation College had gotten him to come down for some music festival. They had saluted Mr. and Mrs. Lee Mack, who would have been the organizers of that. And they gave him to come and sing Education and a couple other songs, and it would have been one of his first performances after being out of Trinidad for a long, long time. So it's the first time, like when you hear in the Song Clash world where I grew up and you used to talk about getting forward when a man sing and he get a big forward and thing. That's the first time on a stage I experienced what a forward this feel like. Because I remember they had done this thing where they set us up to play in front of the curtains in Naparima Bowl. So we started up playing and singing. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Daddy might have sing a piece of the first verse or some kind of intro. And then they opened the curtains and Sparrow was sitting down on the stage. And listen, when that curtain opened and people see it was him, all I know is, it's not like, when you're watching thing on YouTube and you hear forward and thing, you hear everybody ball out and or whatever it is do, right? When you're on stage, there's no way it's here at all, You don't hear nothing. All I know is all of a sudden I can't hear what playing. I'm playing and I'm not hearing. I can't hear the other instruments. I ain't hearing nothing. And I just feeling a vibration, like place shaking. And I'm trying to figure out what is happening because the light sometimes so bright in the eyes that you're not seeing as people cheering or anything like that. And I can't hear nothing. I'm trying to figure out, what is playing. And Sparrow, the professional, as he's seen that millions of times, you know what I mean? So the professional that he is, he kind of look back at we, kind of give you a little tap and get you back in stride, and he started back singing his song. So salute to the great slinger Francisco. And it will be interesting to see his stance on some of his earlier songs because to me, no, the thing about it is because I'm not very religious, I don't know how some of these things work, and there might be good reason if you join a religion to denounce anything that you did before that might seem not in the right eyes of the Lord, not right in the eyes of the Lord kind of thing. But I always feel like it's a part of your legacy too, you know what I mean? Your journey is your journey. There are many people who journey through their whole life and never find the Lord or never find nothing at all, a matter of fact. So to me, every step that you take heading in the right direction, you know what I mean? So wherever you're supposed to end up is where you're supposed to end up. And the moral of the story here with Sparrow, as much as I'm going to play some of these smutty songs, the moral of the story is it's never too late. Because some of these songs I go and play here, it will show you that, listen, if Sparrow could find salvation, it's never too late for you. Salvation is on the way. I would like to play this song for you where Sparrow and his wife had led into some hard times, This is, I read it more and more. I try my best not to come here every week and talk about economic downturn and crime, which is all you see in the papers now. So I try to find content that can keep people uplifted and happy, right? I hope all you appreciate that, right? And I try myself to not get depressed too because the price of groceries. I don't know if all you're watching the price of groceries right now. And I just had the unfortunate pleasure of coming back from a trip and meeting my fridge spoil. Everything in the fridge spoil and the fridge ain't working. Somebody come and they fix it. After about 3 weeks, when we buy back some groceries, after about 3 weeks, it spoil again. So picture now moving into a house and where your grocery bill was. In these times where groceries going up every time, and Stacy only telling me, Paula Stacy's buy 1-1. So she didn't tell me, boy, I pay $100 and something else for that chicken, and $1 of that chicken spoils. So salute to my neighbors who let me store a little thing in them fridge and the freezer and them thing because it ain't looking good. And I had to buy a next set of groceries in this banger season of back to school. So I would just like to, to acknowledge these times, these hard economic times. I would like to show you or play a song for you that Sparrow and his wife run into some issues financially and what they came up with to solve these issues. And who knows, when you're listening to this, maybe it could work for you. Yes? Yes.
Well, I'm hungry and I'm more broken than a louse. If there ain't nothing left for me to pawn in the house, my girlfriend have a pussy cat they call Big Fat Lazy Goose. I tell she to sell it, get some cash cause he ain't no use.
So what to do?
We sell the pussy and bring all the cash to me. I love you, baby, but I can't remain hungry.
Yes.
This starvation, it could finish just like that, but you got to sell the pussy cat.
Pussycat demand sale.
Now she have this cat and she born. She would sell it, she won't even put it in pawn. But before I have to choke and rob and perhaps end up in jail, let me tell me friends that you have your pussy for sale. Sell the pussy and bring all the cash to me. Love you baby, but I can't remain hungry. This starvation got to finish just like that. But you got to sell the pussy, cat. Unemployment is what really have me so broke. You could help out if you sell till I start to work. And I promise you won't have to sell for more than a year or two. By then I should have enough cash to buy 3 pussy for you. As you sell the pussy and bring all the cash to me. Love you baby, but I can't remain hungry. This starvation got to finish just like that. But you got to sell the pussy, yeah. Hey!
The man have a solution for the hard economic time. When you sing a song like that, you got to baptize and you got to dip in water. He baptized in the water, he baptized in the church. You got to do these things, you know what I mean? And it's good advice for people who going to gain 4% too, you know what I mean?
She decided she gon' give me idea a try. Yes. I bring a little shiny man to buy, but she shy. She got accustomed to the business now, so no longer she afraid. Since I can't get work, she continue walking, she trade. Hey, 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 sell the pussy and bring all the cash to me. Love you, baby, but I can't remain hungry. This starvation got to finish just like that. But you got to sell the pussy, yeah.
Good advice, man. If you're only getting 4%, you know what I mean? But Sparrow say so, and I didn't say nothing like that, right? Sparrow say so. 4% is all they're saying. The tutors start back are going straight back to school, right? So get out of that. See when man get baptized, they have to pee me water twice. By the time this episode done, they got to baptize him again. What back to school? School open back. How are you feeling about that? How your routine change for the parents out there? I was playing some cards with my father Sunday. He laughing because he now have no school age children. All the children going away to university as big man and woman fending for themselves. You know what I mean? But I can tell you this: school start back, and thankfully my foot has been going well. Everything going great since the last time. Last couple of weeks I talked to Oli. Everything going good. After I start back exercising. I start back in the gym. I start in physiotherapy soon. So thank God for that. Listen, a million thank yous to Dr. Sergi. Now, good bad talking through his process, but thank you so much to Dr. Sergi from Sinclair. Thank you so much to Dr. Dylan Thomas who put me on to Sergi. I feel like I couldn't be in better hands, but I finally feel I could wear shoes with her back. I didn't have to wear slipper all the damn time. And now I could drive, so I'm back to dropping my son to school every day, which is a great experience. I hear he like it too. Man said that is he bonding time with he and his father. And I think for him it just means his ability to listen to adult topics with JW and Blaze on a morning, with Miles and Blaze on a morning. Talking about adult topics, you know what I mean? This man is invested in these drama Wednesdays and so on. I don't know if I'm so good at this parenting thing, you know? Although, to tell you the truth, before I get into back to school, every now and again when I'm driving with Zachary, right? I don't know if this happened to you all with your kids in the car, right? He's always asking me for my phone to play music. So he would usually every single time he get my phone, he go and put on coffee, ragamuffin reggae beat, yeah, dance all on the street. Yeah. He was real into coffee. I think she was young and he could relate to her and the things that she's saying and the music clean and thing, right? Now, remember that for the past few months I couldn't drive, so he was driving with Stacy all the time. So much to my surprise, I had Zachary my phone coming from school yesterday, and after a long time of searching and silence in the car, I hear London, dun, 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 dun. One order and clansman, gunman, badman's kingdom, real that. I said, what is happening? Like Paula Stacey, I don't know what was the choices being made with music is because I thought as my phone went off and I said, oh God, like this man going in the wrong thing in one of my playlists or something. He's like, no, I like this song. Mommy plays this all the time. So I mean, salute to mommy. Every time you feeling you're on a bad job, mother doing a worse job. But I'm back to school now and having to wake up early and think like I can't catch myself. This is the reason why this podcast may or may not be reaching here at the normally scheduled time, right? I can't catch myself. When I reach home from school, I knock out cold like I can't function. This is my first full working day. My first day driving so much. First day dropping them back to school, going through that traffic to and fro. And my first day back in the gym as well. So I ain't fully functional yet. But Zachary seemed to be excited to go back out to school. They say mask optional, but he wants to wear his mask, so he going ahead with the mask. For some strange reason, the mask optional, right? And you have a minister of health who, he ever get COVID? The health thing ever get COVID? Anyway, I know he was in hospital recently and they said it wasn't COVID, right? But you have a minister of health who saying that we clearly in the endemic, but for some reason, the school not giving them an afternoon break. I think that is a problem because these children, I guess they're trying to limit the amount of mingling. But I mean, anyway, it just costing me a lot when I leave school because this man is hungry by the time I pick him up. And this boy have expensive taste. I don't know how much I could take it. But with all the back to school rush on Monday morning, tutor decided that there will be no school on Monday morning. Due to the fact that they are protesting, they've been advised to rest and reflect, and all based on this 4% offer that was made by the government. Now, a few things happening there, right? Because it's so similar to what we said about the scrap iron dealers, where if you can't get your own way, you shut down the country. But I have a different stance on this than the people who were dealing with the scrap iron. And after reading Paolo Kernahan, I might have a different stance on or just a different appreciation for what happened in the scrap iron industry as well, which I could probably touch on if we have a minute. But where the school's concerned, tutor came out and said that Mondays are their rest and reflection, and they're not accepting this 4% offer that the government is making. Mind you, negotiations been going on since they're negotiating for the 2013 period. So you have teachers who are out there working on 2013 salaries. There's a funny exchange with Blaze and them yesterday, Monday morning too, where they were talking about, somebody call and say, well, we're working on 2013 salaries, and Blaze and them say, well, me too. And she said, y'all working on 2013? She's like, yeah, we're working on 2013 salaries. And I think it's one of the fundamental differences when you're working in the public sector versus when you're working in the private sector. The private sector, that expectation of an increase in salary for doing the same job is get tempered a lot in the private sector. I mean, some private sector companies unionized, and the union might sign off to a collective bargaining arrangement. But I would say this, right? For as somebody who running a small business, that is a very, very tricky thing. It is extremely difficult because I can't see how we going to make more salaries if we don't make more money. So it's easier for somebody like me to tie compensation to some sort of achievement and make sure that achievement has to do with either saving money or making more money or higher margin or something, or some kind of innovation or something for the future. Because one of the things I always discuss with team members is that the money you're getting paid now and the success you see in the company now, that comes off the work that somebody did 5 years ago, sometimes 10 years ago. Somebody who mightn't even be here right now. So the work you're doing now is really securing something 5 years from now or 10 years from now, which you may or may not be here to enjoy, because people move on, people get better jobs and they resign, they retire. You know what I mean? So, but if you're here and we could enjoy the spoils of it, then why not, you know? So, in the private sector, I could understand what Blaze and them saying, because in the private sector, there's not that expectation that you have this year-on-year increase and incremental increases, and there's no direct pressure like that for the employer to keep up with the standard of or cost of living, like directly correlated and increase your salary all the time. I mean, somebody better, more profitable and bigger private sector companies may put things in place to say, all right, well, there's ability for you to to move or grow, but that growth comes in the form of new positions. It's not just like, all right, you're doing the same exact thing you was doing yesterday, but prices going up all over the country. So here, hold this. Not at the expense of the profitability of the company, certainly. You know what I mean? So a little bit different, and I was glad to hear that exchange yesterday because she herself sounds so surprised that Blaze and them working on 2030 salaries, and I am not. And she did make a good point before she leaves. She said, well, you all need to negotiate with your employers. But that also assumes that Blaze and them are happy with the arrangement that they have, because the arrangement that you have, your package, is not just the salary. There may be salary, there may be other benefits like health plans and pension plans and so on. There might be reasons why, just like any public sector, there might be reasons why Blaze and them mightn't walk away from a job, because if you walk away, you may relinquish your benefits such as severance if they were to let you go and so on. You know what I mean? They have plenty of reasons, but your remuneration package is a package, is different elements to it. But I would say that let me just make the distinction between the teachers on strike and the public, the scrap iron dealers. Teachers, of course, are critical to the society and not doing anything illegal as a body or within the. It's not like if you have that same. My issue with these scrap iron dealers is that you all have so many members among yourselves who is frauds. You know what I mean? Only buying thing that clearly brand new. Who buy that church bell? You understand? Who? Because the people who thief in it, I know that they go in and they have their own scrapyard and go and scrap it down and think, who buy that? Or which dealer? Or, none, they don't know. Everybody don't know. So nobody can call police and call out people. I seen Paolo Kernahan talking about the legislation in place, and the legitimate people within the scrap iron industry have been calling on the government to step up on the legislation. I hear that, right? But the reality is that while they start calling police on all their brothers and sisters who doing these kind of things, while they start pointing fingers and selling them out, if all they're serious about keeping all the industry up and running, you know what I mean? Become whistleblowers. Let it stop. Because Paolo Kernahan has an article basically saying that, listen, the scrap iron dealers, the government's reactive approach to the scrap iron dealers is indicative of how the country is run, and they don't know what they're doing and all this kind of thing, right? And basically calling out the government because other countries have these same issues. And he's calling out the government, saying that the government have some of the same legislation in place, but they do nothing about these things. And then the solution is to ban everything. And then the legitimate players within the industry suffer for it. And then we surprised when crime goes up. Let me see if I could find the article. It's called Wood for Scrap Iron Dealers. You know how Paolo is talking, right? So you have to stay with me. Scrap iron old battery buying you, because just refrain from scrap iron bad ricochets off my office walls. I nearly broke my neck running downstairs to catch the passing Sanford and Son truck. The only meal I ever accomplished in a set of cast iron pans was rust, so I thought I might at least salvage a portion of my investment. What a pong you buying at? The loader looked at the rusty discarded materials he was collecting and shot back. Price for iron real low now. I asked, so how much? He said, nothing really, you know. I see you play my friend. You know I ain't walking back with this crap inside. He's a scrap iron dealer, not me. I need to get rid of this stuff. Off he went with my cast iron pots that were apparently, by all market standards, worthless. That is until they arrive at the scrapyard. The scrap iron industry has always been a feature of the informal business landscape of TNT, with China's increasingly voracious appetite for metal to feed its own growth spurt. The industry has seen some lucrative leaps recently. It should be noted, though, that not all dealers are making bank deposits, and not all crooks are cable thieves. And not all dealers are crooks and cable thieves. Paolo, that is the truth about any industry. I mean, the reality is that any industry you look at that might have bad light on it. Let's talk about police. Not all police bad, and not all police is crooks and cable thieves either. But once you have bad ones within the midst, it causes it's an enormous amount of distress. But anyway, the shutdown of the industry for 6 months feel like a scorched earth response. The government, not surprisingly, is hopelessly detached from society and the impact of its rudderless take on the crisis. The brainless trust near the seat of power can't fathom the damage of this singularly unipronged strategy. This is a hard thing to read. The scrap iron industry employs thousands who would otherwise struggle to find work elsewhere. Money spun by the industry in turn feeds other small businesses like parlors. The government is throwing out the baby with the bathwater and throwing out the basin right behind it. It's an easy sell for the state has been able to chime with the public perceptions that anyone in the scrap iron industry must be a common thief. Yeah, I think the public perception is that people fed up is a complete eyesore. It's causing problems for everybody everywhere, and the level of desperation, as you talk about later in the article, seems to be getting to ridiculous levels. He goes on to say, countries around the world have struggled to contain illegality within the recycled metals industry. In the UK, Scrap Metals Dealers Act of 2013 stipulates that all dealers must be licensed and prohibits cash trade, presumably to create a paper trail for all transactions. Moreover, legislation in the UK dictates that all dealers must be able to identify sellers of scrap metals. These are just a few of the provisions to regulate the industry and reduce theft. In examining performance of the legislation, it's estimated that theft in the UK of metals fell by 75% in 4 years. If only we had a policy, some guiding document to bridle the industry. As it happens, we do. A policy document was drafted by the Minister of Trade as far back as 2013. Does this surprise you? It shouldn't. The policy is comprehensive and it contains many of the provisions applied in other countries to tame lawlessness and streamline the sector, licensing, inspection, certification of traded materials, etc. I doubt it have in there anything that says no cash, because we don't even do that in our own government buildings and services. Still, the government appoints another one of its superfluous committees to reinvent the wheel beneath which now jobless scrap metal workers will be crushed. This isn't a new problem, but we treat it with the same 5-star incompetence applied to all our challenges. I thought I was fed up of what going on and sarcastic, but Paolo is the king of this. Over the years, the scourge exploded. Bandits stole drainage grates and manhole covers, exposing the public to serious harm. Something had to be done, so quite naturally, nothing was done. As overseas demand grew for metal, dealers became more desperate. A few months ago, thieves made off with a church bell believed to be more than 100 years old. Recognizing that the fallout of criminality in the sector would inevitably land on their heads, Scrap Iron Dealers Association had been calling for regulation of the industry for quite some time. It was ignored. Listen, our dependence on government is one of the greatest things I've ever seen. So you calling on regulation from the government. What you all doing? You all have a dealers association. What you all doing to regulate yourselves and the people who in it? I find it hard to believe. I don't believe much of this thing, because it don't have 1,000 scrap iron dealers in the country. It's not tens or thousands of people in this business. It will be a small group of people. All they could tell me that when little, even up to the level of TSTT cable was missing, all they could have sell me this. But when church bell going missing, I find it hard to believe that the Scrap Iron Dealers Association is just a legitimate body of people who trying to do right and employ the best people and have the sustain the parlors and different industries. Like, it's amazing how Paulo write this article to put these people on some kind of pedestal or perch. Like, if you know what I mean, everybody in this, they cool. They've been calling for regulations for so long, but the government ignored it. So now they just scrap the whole thing. Adding insult to joblessness, the Minister of Social Development has announced that those affected by the export ban can apply for grants. A joke for people who hate laughter. That is quite a joke. I mean, they apply for grants in this country. That is always the talk. And you know, this is like COVID. You tell you how to apply for grant. If you go the next day after they make the announcement, nobody in the ministry know how to apply for that grant, or what the grant is, or how much it is, right? Shut down Piaco, shut down Petrotrin, BW, Tidco, TTT, and now scrap the scrap iron industry. The government specializes in manufacturing monsters, either by action or omission, which it then tries to vanquish through closure. As usual, it's the small man who suffers from the consequences of small-mindedness. Well, boy, some of that is true. Should the government be running an oil refinery and an airline in the first place? I don't think so. But the small man tends to be the one who suffers regardless. The government actions, well, as he says here, either by action or omission, the government is not the only body that causes the small man to suffer. Because if the scrap iron industry continues to run in the way it's running currently, is the small man who's suffering. Because when they cut my cable and move manhole cover and I fall in the, you understand? When they do things, let me use how my fridge spoiled. Current went here about 6 times a night. That was after I come back and it was spoiled and I fix it. Pay to fix it. Current went here about 5-6 times a night. The fridge going down again. I'll pay to fix it again. Or right now I'm looking for a fridge because the way Stacy watching me here now and the amount of skank she listening to, I feel like it get dark in this house real fast. So the small man, the idea that the small man is suffer at the hands of the government is not is not untrue. But the small man is suffer at the hands of everybody. No matter what is implemented by whom, whether it's big business, it's government, whatever it might be. How is it not the small man who's suffering if the scrap iron dealers left to just take a church bell, 100 years old, priceless to the people who would have that bell, priceless to the people who would grow up in that community and hear the bell ring or see that bell, and you know what I mean? And that just gone, vanished, poof, into thin air, nothing. It cannot be repaired, it cannot be replaced, it probably unscrapped down on a boat getting out of here already. The government didn't just scrap down the scrap iron industry, no pun intended. They said, listen, let me put a pause on this and let me look into this. Okay, so they have legislation for 2013. The committee coming together to see how we could better that legislation because 2013 is a long time ago, Paolo. But also, they could better it and make a few additions to it, but figure out what's the best way to implement it because it's a nuisance to even the police that be running down pieces of copper and things. I ain't come to talk about that, I really come to talk about how school open back. And the teachers did their resting and reflecting. I want to say thanks to my son teacher who came to school on Monday. I understand the teachers' plight and everything too. I don't want to sound unfair to the teachers because if you they as I said, there's completely separate issue from those who are the scrap iron dealers. But the similarity for me is where last week we were talking about the scrap iron dealers throwing things on the highway to disrupt the country. And what Tutor did on Monday, to me, is disruptive. As I hear somebody say they had 2 months vacation, they could rest and reflect all then, you know what I mean? There are times somebody say, I saw a man, he was passionate about it on the news, talking about last week, he had to come and drop in $500 or some kind of money for the term. He said all the teachers was there. Now he come to bring his Sunday teachers in there. I mean, that would be unfair to him. What I would say is that on 2013 salaries, and just to go back to public sector versus private sector, the government, especially with the British form of governance, right, what we call Westminster government, is almost written into the way the government behaves that they are obligated to pay a fair living wage, right? So that's where the idea that there's these incremental increases or collective bargaining, the government is supposed to keep up with especially inflationary pressure in terms of the salaries. So I could understand why tutor wants to be disruptive. What I will say is that teachers could do like what my son teacher do and just say. Because, well, she messaged and said she will be there, send them. But I would also appreciate it if she messaged and say, well, listen, she ain't coming out, she resting and reflecting. Because 2013, the issue is not even the 4% on its own. The issue is why are we negotiating a decade past the time? I remember TSTT being the same thing, and we like it so, you know. We make fuss and we beat thing and we sing Negro spirituals and we protest and them kind of thing, but we like a little back pay, yes. We would rather, I think as employees, we would rather not have these things negotiated on time. So if the negotiating period is 2013 to 2016, I think you should finish that negotiation in 2012. So that by 2013, I could get my incremental increase and I good. But we kind of like to let it lag a little bit because we like a little lump sum because we need things, you know what I mean? Courts need to get money. And Answer Motors and Lifestyle and Diamond Motors and what the big boys' name again? Bavarian and Sterling and them first need to get money. So the idea that they're arguing for the 4%, the 4% on its own as being too small. One of the issues is how long it's been. And this was, they coming out and saying this as almost like it's a defense that, well, you only go bankrupt the whole country and saying, well, yeah. Because if you had gone through this process in 2014 or 2013 or 2012, you could have just navigated your way through it much better than having to find billions of dollars now in back pay to people that are going to end up in the pockets of people like Sterling Motors and so on. But on Tuesday, everybody was back out. Salute to all the teachers. I'm glad all get their rest and reflection. I hope I help all get the money that's all you want to get. I hope that getting of that money does not affect my tax dollar in any way. And those two statements don't go together well at all. So I hope that we recognize that when you get extra money, without any extra productivity, what it causes is upward pressure on prices at the cash register. So what ends up happening is that you was working for 10,000 today, you get a piece of back pay, and the marginal propensity to spend our song in this country is 1. Every extra dollar you get, go and spend and save very little, if any. And then it pump back into the system in terms of more demand. So now everybody want more things by courts, more beds selling, more stereo selling, more. You see what they call in economics, everything, or in marketing, everything you call shopping goods, which is like everything courts sell, motor car and so on, all those things. So it's going to cause upward pressure on the prices of those goods. So that the same 10,000, now when you bargain and you get your back pay and your 10,000 now gone to 12 because you negotiate from 4% to 40%. And the biggest employer now paying people 40% more. What tends to happen is that now your 12,000 that you get that you're so happy for and you celebrate and you throw a little party and you buy rum gain your headache instead of buy scotch now. What tends to happen is that 12,000 ends up buying less than what the 10,000 could have buy. And then we're back in the same cycle again because we had to negotiate again for the last 10 years, right? But salute to all the teachers, all they get a day off, or the rest and reflection, they get a processing. And on Tuesday morning, it was back to the regular traffic. I leave 5 minutes late. I couldn't function after that day of school. And I leave about 5 minutes late, and I was in traffic going into San Fernando. But again, I had to say salute to, I know there are some issues with them in South there, but your boy Regrello is doing a great job managing the traffic and making sure that I-Man could get in and out of there relatively quickly on a daily basis. And that's something I appreciate. So in dedication to the reopening of school, I had to play a little Sparrow that is along the line. It's nothing he would have had to get baptized for. Let me put it like that, right? This is a song where he could basically sing anywhere. This is one that he could continue to sing post-baptism, right? Take the seat.
Education, education, this is the foundation. Our rising population needs sound education to be recognized anywhere you go. Have your certificate to show, to enjoy any kind of happiness. Knowledge is the key to success. Children go to school and learn well. Otherwise, later on in life, you won't catch real hell. Without an education in your head, your whole life will be pure misery. You're better off dead. For there is simply no room in this whole wide world for an uneducated little boy or girl. Don't allow idle companions to lead you astray. To earn tomorrow, you got to learn today.
But I really come here to play songs for you that would make him feel like you needed to get baptized, to be honest.
The challenge, she didn't know better. Just because he fat at the price she thought was a steal.
Yes.
Soon took care of that. Before long she started to scream.
What she say?
Fat man, boy. Fat man are tired. Fat man, boy. You're jamming too hard. Fat man, boy, you gon' kill me. I just can't make me back or break. I didn't know you could whine so. What's my name? mistake, for heaven's sake, fat man, I'm sorry.
Oh no, fat man.
I can't take the pressure.
Oh no, fat man.
You're sweet like sugar,
Oh no, fat man.
Yes.
hotter than pepper.
Oh no, fat man.
How a big belly man could jam so much fire.
You gotta get baptized, right? So listen, more stories, right? No, I don't know how I end up in the midst of these kind of things, right? But let me flash back to Zachary's birthday for a minute. Salute my guy, you know what I mean? For Zachary's birthday, one thing I must say, salute to Miss Adesi Clark. It's the best godmother you ever come across in your life, right? I had godchildren, I don't even see them children. When I see them children, I just be shocked to see how big them children get because I don't look for no godchildren, I don't study godchildren and things. But Mr. Desi Clark and Mr. Zachary Shepherd have a great relationship as godmother and godson. They just make sure they stay connected, they talk to one another. When I say talk to one another, them having big adult conversation when them come here and think it's the strangest thing I've ever seen. One time she gave them a pedicure and two of them. I listened to the conversation. I said, but what is this? But Desi is a great godmother to Zachary. Salute to her. Thank you for having her. We're happy to have her in our lives. And as usual for Zachary's birthday, she doesn't just get him something. What she does is she kind of say, you know what I mean? While you're doing with Zachary for the birthday, she kind of fall in with the plans and whatever. But then she's take him somewhere for herself. Like whether it's to the mall and go and shop for something or go to dinner. Or every year she does this since he's small, you know what I mean? So this year, very early, she reached out to the mother and she said, listen, I want to take Zachary while you're doing it, you know what I mean? I want to take him to the Brix for a night. She say, you know what I mean? I'll carry him to the hotel. We'll spend a night in the hotel, get up and eat breakfast or something, and I'll bring him back and whatnot. Now, I don't know how long you listen to this podcast, but what I will tell you is every single year, Zachary's have some kind of birthday party, and the birthday party is for the parents. Because I remember when he was about 2 or 3 years old, and I opened the birthday party cooler, it had way more beers than Chubby, right? So it's really about Stacy and her friends getting together and having a fete, right? So, of course, you know, Stacy ended up in the Brix too. So I get organizing myself, trying to get myself in a gear, get ready for the new school term and so on, because I know I have plenty going on. And looking at the news, making sure that I'm good where the podcast concerned, and all I could see as a headline, shooting at the Brix. This is, I kid you not, the day before Adesi and Stacy and Zachary supposed to go up in the Brix. And I was supposed to go, I said, well, I'll meet them for dinner. Or, you know, have a few drinks the night or whatever, since it's an adult party anyway. Or come and meet them for breakfast. Well, no, me ain't going nowhere because somebody had to live to tell the story. Somebody had to live to say what has happened if they spray up the Brix again and them in the Brix. But boy, sadly, that day before I come and I read this thing with the shooting in the Brix. And this is exactly what I'm talking about and what I was talking about in the podcast last week, where the consequences lacking, nothing gonna happen to nobody. You could come and shoot people anyway and you know what I mean? So imagine now my family in the Brix having a time, having a little breakfast, dipping in the pool, you know what I mean? Making memories, sharing memorious times, you know what I mean? The man now turned 10 years old, man hit double digits, momentous, what's the word I'm looking for? Momentous birthday. And his godmother and his mother carry him in the Brix, only for them to experience where you're in the car park, you're coming back in and somebody gets shoot right next to you. Things that traumatize you for your whole life. In what is now the hottest property in the country. I mean, Hyatt was that at a point in time. But you know how new hotels go, so everybody trying to spend a whole night in the Brix and be up in the Brix. I went to a wedding in the Brix the other day. This man could have been getting married that day and taking the nice little wife pictures and them kind of thing, you know what I mean? And while you there trying to say you getting married, somebody getting shoot up in the car park, and that had to be part of the memory of one of the best days of your life. I don't think it's fair to the population to have to deal with this and to try to navigate this all the time. As a matter of fact, it's impossible for the population to navigate things like this. But as usual, we see these things and a few platitudes are said between social media and what the commissioner, the police, whoever in charge, or the politicians will come and say a few things. And they will say a few things according to how much we kick up about it. If we come out and make a big fuss about it, they will come and say something. But if we don't, that is the end of that too, to be honest, you know what I mean? And it seems as though in this case is we split as a country. It's not. We seem not to want to acknowledge that the person who got killed in this thing was completely innocent. We seem to want to say that because it's dancehall and all like badness. And I see a man posting on Facebook this week, right? So let's say it's a no correlation between the lyrics in man's song. And so the girlfriend, we forget that this girl. Hey, let me read it. An Instagram post advertising the whereabouts led to the shooting of a local dancehall artist and the death of his girlfriend in the car park of a Cascadia hotel yesterday. Now, full disclosure, and to be honest, right? To be honest with you, I thought Kalonji was dead already. I was very wrong about that, but I could have swear. I tell Stacey, I said, nah, he dead. I said that'd be some new man she went there with because I don't know. I had thought I read something saying he was dead, but sorry about that. Police said around 2:15 p.m. artist Kalonji's daytime, right? Broad daylight. If there was ever a thing called broad daylight. 2:15 p.m. artist Kalonji Arthur and Bridget James, 25, who worked at the accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, had just gotten into his Toyota Altis and were about to leave the Brix hotel. While seated in the car, however, a group of men armed with assault rifles ambushed the couple and opened fire on the silver-colored compact. Police said Kalonji was struck in both legs and James was shot about her upper body. The killers fled in a waiting vehicle. Terrified residents and hotel employees called... This is exactly what I mean. I like this line. Terrified residents and hotel employees. Terrified is the word. I don't know if you ever hear what assault rifles song like. And I saw the video from the car park where they shoot up. There's two people coming out of this car. The driver seemed to not have come out. He get hired as a driver. But it's like Grand Theft Auto. You know what I mean? When it's Michael and Franklin and what the next name, they just come. You know, Franklin used to do all the driving and all the missions and thing, right? And then Michael and them come out and shoot us. Like, this is what we living in real life. I bet I didn't buy no game. But terrified residents and hotel employees called the police and ambulance services who arrived within minutes. They took both injured to the Port of Spain General Hospital where James was pronounced dead on arrival. Now, a few things about James that's so sad, right? I'm going to talk about Kalonji yet. Because I here to play a few of these songs that I feel Sparrow would have sing. That would have caused him in his late days to say, boy, Lord, please help me. Please help me. Let me get on your good side here before, you know what I mean, before the bell toll, because I feel like I will make it with what I've sung. And the reason I choose to do that is because we don't offer grace to these young artists who singing. I agree. The music that they sing is extremely vulgar. It is extremely violent. It is crude. It is crass. I and all can listen to some of it sometime. Although to tell you the truth, I really like skeng. You see that same London. I want to go skeng show. But I want somebody call me when skeng going on stage. So I could come and park right by the stage. As a matter of fact, I wonder if they have a drive-thru in that show. You know, they should do drive-thru in this show because me and my boy Bert went to a show. Movado self. Bounty Killer and Idonia. Listen, my foot never hurt me so. And no, it was my father. It was Idonia, Bounty Killer, and Beanie Man. And boy, I stand up till my foot hurt me to see Bounty Killer walk off the stage after about 3 songs and say that Hoppy and them and pay him enough money or whatever it is. I can't go through that, boy. I don't think, and I was going to get my foot in so good now. And if they're handicapped parking inside, you know what I mean? If I could park right by the stage and I go in and I see Skeng is a bad artist. But the music that Skeng and these fellas singing, and let me focus particularly on the Trinibad artists, right? I don't know Kalonji music at all. But some of the music that these youth singing is crude, it's crass. I and all this can't take it sometimes. And one of the things I find we do acknowledge too is that we listen to real gangster music. You know, I don't know why my mother especially, she never used to tell me nothing. When I listen to music and say, maybe it's because when she was young, she was a good man, looseness too. These guys Sparrow and himself. But she never used to say nothing, but them music was crude and crasser. But the reality is that as you get older, your ears get more sensitive. I think that's something that we ourselves don't want to acknowledge. So we just sit down here and we say, well, the music wasn't so bad when we was younger. Okay. But you also got much more sensitive to what you could hear and what you could take on and them kind of thing. Because I can't even take music when it's playing too loud now. Much less somebody comes in and hooting and getting back and hooting. I can't take that. I can't take it. I don't like it. But what I will say is these youths is great artists. Skeng is a good artist. You know what I mean? And we had to give them time. It's never too late. It's never too late. Look, Sparrow come and get baptized. Sparrow couldn't even walk into the water. He said if you get somebody to gurney him out there and hold him up, as you see how the man was under pressure to hold him up. It's never too late for people. We can't just condemn the youths and them because they're making the same decisions that all youths make. You know some of Sparrow songs? He making some of the same decisions that youths have made from time immemorial. That's how you say it. Give the youths and them grace. They will get older. Their ears going to get more sensitive too. They may well become a Marion Hall or Christopher Herbert, where they themselves come and say, boy, listen, I don't want no part of that music again. I move on. I give my life to the Lord, and this is what I'm singing. No, we're not giving them time to do that. We're just saying that if you say gangster things in your songs, it's like you deserve to die and get gunned down. You know what I mean? I don't understand it. I don't appreciate it, and I don't understand it. But it's so sad when you see this young lady too, from a few counts, right? This is from The Guardian by Charlene Rampersad. As condolences poured in for relatives of murder victim Bridget James, those who were close to her took to social media to defend her reputation and share details about her life. James, 25, and her boyfriend, dancehall artist Kalonji, were leaving Brix Hotel in Cascade. I'll read that all already, right? But I just want to get to some of the tributes. We were so proud and excited because she started making her mark early in her chosen career. Trust, she didn't want that man money or fame. She had her things. This is what people on Twitter saying, right? Somebody else said, but is the inaccurate assumptions people try to make. But is the inaccurate assumptions people try to make the truth that is upsetting. She let down her guard and it cost her life. She was such a sweet soul. She said this was not her lifestyle. This was a caught-up moment many of us have had in our earlier years. To know her was to love her. She was one of the sweetest, most joyful, kind-hearted, intelligent, loving persons you'd ever meet. So much potential, so much to offer, a lot more greatness was ahead of her. And more, the more about you read about her, you realize the girl was doing good, you know what I mean? She was an accountant in Price Waterhouse. I don't know if that's the easiest job to get. They say everybody who do accounting is end up doing audit in Price Waterhouse. So I don't know if it's audit she was doing, but the girl seemed to be doing good on the right path. Somebody would say that is a good citizen, you know what I mean? There's a good youth, 24 years old, you know what I mean? And she a senior associate. It had to mean that she's doing some things right in life. No, I don't want to be insensitive and play a certain skilly bang that comes to mind, right? But I will say that as a young girl, I want you flash back to them times, right? As a young girl, 24 years old, you're fresh out the cub. You used to like a man with a little edge. Let me not fool myself. That's not look down on youth now as our eyes get wiser and our ears get more sensitive. That doesn't look down on youth now like if every wrong choice they make, they were supposed to be born with all this maturity and wisdom that you acquire over time due to making heavy wrong decision. All this thing we call experience as adults is heavy wrong decision you make, and you live and you learn and you take some bunks. I myself is always thank God that I reached. You know how bad I wanted to be on the block? I always talk about it. I wanted to be on the block so bad. They used to run me home. I was never built for it. I didn't want the trouble. I never liked the drugs and the guns and the fight. I just wanted to chill. I just wanted to be older. But to be older and to be respected, you had to do some older things. Now, my mother boy is the big eye, and then when they roll, it keep me. When the extra things start, I looking to run home. That's why they used to say, boy, go home, you're not even built for this. But all of us, as I say, when you now leave the cub, you're gonna make real bad decisions. You know what I mean? I never liked no girl unless they had you had to have a certain amount of gold teeth, a certain amount of powder, a certain amount of, you know what I mean? You had to pat. You had to have a lot of patting going on. You think had to be slicked down your edges. That's what I like. And I don't know that would have mean that everybody who was like that was bad, because I could tell you that one of the people who was known for gold teeth and so on. Let me tell you a story about me, right? I went tranquil A-levels. I never used to go to school. What the hell was wrong with me when I was small? I never used to go to school. This time is 18, 19 years old. Me ain't going to school a single day. And I used to go when it had basketball practice or something happening in the school, but certainly not for class and them thing. I was cool. And I was, I'll confess too that I was pretty okay studying on my own and getting my thing done. Although I had to do CXC twice and I had to do A-levels twice, but I had a different story. But when I moved to upper six, and then they had girls coming in the lower six, I remember men like Sheldon Cummins, salute Sheldon is a police now, man, like Marcus, our whole squad away. We don't know when that orientation coming. There's a fresh batch of girls coming in the school. They're 4 months too young, right? There's a fresh batch coming in down there. But I for them youth, man. When lower 6 and fresh birds coming in the den. We coming out. I put on my little Jordans. This time my Jordans tighter because I borrowed from a man named Colonel King. That's the only reason I had brands back then. And I gone and put on my Jordans and I gone up in orientation. And the goal there in orientation is to say, well, what the crop looking like? You know what I mean? Like we pick who's the crop. And I remember the crop coming in and there are 3 people in that crop. Should I call names? I want to call names because it's people's wife and thing now. I don't want to call no names and thing. But there had 3 people in that crop. And when we look at the 3, I tell them fellas, I say, boy, the one with the gold teeth looking the baddest, I will get that. And I get was it ever a question I get? So, but that same gold, who I see back then in Tranquil with gold teeth and powder and who was gangster when she vexed, she's a cussy. Listen, she's a Wharton graduate now, MBA graduate of Wharton. Not many people can say that. She work in places like Facebook, she work in places like LinkedIn, so people can say whatever they want with your stereotypes, right? When you see on the outside, a lot of times have very little to do with where on the inside. And when you see people today, sometimes have absolutely nothing to do with what that person could come out to be tomorrow. So, in short, shut up. Leave people and young people, let them live. But it's such a sad thing to see that social media seem to condemn this young girl for things that all of us did. When you're young, you go in and take chances. Who don't like? Now, let me use an example of Popcorn and Tony Ansing. In light of the fact that I've seen Miss World for Trinidad and Tobago bubbling up now, and they have some new Miss World delegates. You know, somehow Miss World and them things still fascinating. Well, I guess, you know what I mean? If you put 20-something young girls to try out something and make them, you know what I mean? The intelligent and the beautiful and thing that will always be popular, yes? But, you know, one of them is my star daughter. I was telling a little police last week who Instagram to go and check out and say, my star daughter, my star daughter. What? My star easy. But my star daughter, one of the Miss World salute her back in my star daughter. I put it on paper, right? But Popcorn would be considered. But only want to play some Popcorn gun song here and some Popcorn badness and some lewd and indecent Popcorn and them kind of thing. I ain't gonna play it, right? Don't turn off yet. But Popcorn is not different from any Trinidad artist that we have done here. Same kind of music he's singing, right? And his girlfriend now is a lady by the name of Tony Ann Singh. I want you to go and Google Tony Ann Singh. Tony Ann is T-O-N-I, right? Go and Google Tony Ann Singh. Tony Ann is a Miss World or Miss Universe for Jamaica. If you see the track, you know what I mean? Good. And there's a man, wife up, who, and as a young fella, I didn't understand that I saying, but he looking like a slacker. He must be smelling a weed right through. When you look at who he is, remember that Junior Gong mother. Not saying that Bob Marley was singing any gangster music. I'm just trying to show the appeal of very popular artists and people who do it, live in that kind of life. But his mother, Cindy Brix was Miss Universe. I think she was Miss Universe. Like she won Miss Universe for Jamaica, if I'm not mistaken. Right? And that was Bob Marley's girlfriend. So the idea that at 24 years old, you could get caught up with an artist or get caught up with a bad man and think, I don't know that that's so unique to anybody. That is a normal thing that's happened all the time, every single day. It's so sad that whatever this guy, if he was involved in anything or whatever he was involved in, led to this young girl losing her life. I can't imagine how he himself as a young fellow will feel because, listen, when you watch these young people picture, I watching the picture, they have two of them and they thing hung up. Them look like any little couple that could be Zachary and his little girlfriend in a few years, you know what I mean? And if it's Zachary and his little girlfriend, I want to see if his girlfriend have a little friend too, you know what I mean? She know a big sister or something. You know what I mean? But guys, like this is normal young people love kind of thing. Whatever he get caught up in or whatever it is that could cause people to, because that ain't no shooting and no stray bullet. Man roll up on your car and was looking to kill you. So whatever life you live that was involved in that, boy, listen. It's so unfortunate, and he had to take stock of some things now because they say he got shot in the legs, but now he left to mourn this girl, and it's going to be rough for anybody at that young age to go through such a traumatic experience and lose somebody. Listen, I don't just talk for talking sake, you know. I know a girl, right, who in her previous life, you know what I mean? People, as I say, where you start off, where you end up, because she's one of the most together people with her husband and her children and all those things that I know now. But boy, back in the day, she was looking for a Kalonji back in the day too, yes. But when she looking for the Kalonji and she find her next kind of Kalonji, and boy, me making nothing up, you know, I selling this story how I buy it wholesale. I ain't adding nothing, I ain't taking away nothing. Here what happened to her. She get a drop back where she was living from the fella she dealing with on the next side, right? You know what I mean? And when they drop her back, as the man pull up, the man who she dealing with, where she living, come out with a gun. Empty it in the fella. This is she saying, no, in the car next to the fella, the man brings she back home. They went, you know what I mean? There's somebody you like, obviously. And the man empty it in the car. Kill him. He slumped down, the blood all over her skirt and thing. And then she point the gun at her and say, hey, you, go upstairs. That is something I know a girl went through in real life. This is not plaything, you know. So you see that, and I know from knowing her what that would do to her and do to her psyche over time, like how hard it would be to get over that. And I remember her talking more than 10 years after and saying she still have this skirt with the blood on it. You know what I mean? Do that them thing ain't right here. So it's such a sad situation, and I hope he himself find the help that he need to start getting over that and start reconciling those things with himself. And if it's a lifestyle that he live in that caused him to end up in that situation where people looking for him to gun him down, I hope it's one of them where he understand like Mighty Sparrow. It's never too late. It's never too late to change. It's never too late to get out of them situations and make a life where you could go Brix like Stacy and Zachary and Adesi, and not have to worry about who coming to kill you and who. That's not no life at all. When you're young, sometimes the little block and them things you're liming on, this be all the things you know. But there's so much more to life than those things. So follow Sparrow. Find a way out of wherever it is you're dealing with it and move on. You know what I mean? Find the therapy that you need and things to move on and get the help. Because that ain't right here. Forget revenge or retribution, whatever. I'm struggling for words today, but forget trying to get back at whoever. Try and find your way out of whatever life it is you're involved in, if that is what led to it. The only thing I want to say about that as well is I saw her father saying that he didn't know that she was with that kind of man. And if he know that, he'd have stopped it. That father need to get the help he need to, because as a father, you will do anything for your children. And I was talking to Naldo this week, and he was saying, you know, if he have a daughter, I don't have a daughter, so I could only imagine how different our viewpoint will be on this. But you will do anything. You would have taken them bullets for your daughter. I would certainly take them bullets for my son. If I get anywhere, they gotta kill me. Let him live. But boy, to live on with the notion in your mind that you would have put a stop to it when there's a big 24-year-old woman, I think it's torturing yourself. I see situations already. I had a situation at a time, right, with a partner who, you know, he and the woman end up in problems, and the woman went she own way and them separate and thing. And I remember talking to that girl father years after, and he was saying, boy, I didn't like it neither. I like the girl for your partner. Your partner's supposed to be the man, and they're supposed to get married, and that's how it's supposed to be. He says, so I tell the new fella now, he can't come in the house. He said, but then when I study my daughter, where she going by this man? I don't know the man. I don't know his family. I don't know what he involved in. He said he eventually said, boy, bring the man here. You know what I mean? Just to protect his daughter, because he don't like it. He don't like the fellow. But you would rather know your daughter home under your roof than she go and sleeping somewhere and end up in some situation. Boy, listen, so much of stories like that kind of thing. Boy, is hard. And as a father, you gotta find your own grace and your own forgiveness and your own help with them situations. Because to sit down there and tell yourself that you would have put a stop to that, I'm not sure. No, given that it's not too late, I just want to play a Mighty Sparrow. That might be one of the reasons why he would have feel like he had to get baptized. Yes?
Two women in my life, one of them got to be my wife. Two women in my life, one of of them got to be my wife. Betty love me, but I love Myra. Gone to explain to Grandpapa, what should I do? Who should I wed? Grandpa watched me and then he said, the one who you love, never marry to she. Is the one who love you, she gon' make you happy. Keep the one that you love on the side all the while. But the one who love you, take her straight down the aisle.
You gonna feel like you were baptized.
Grandpapa, you're making fun. That is easier said than done. How I gonna leave me sweetheart on top the shelf? Ups and marry somebody else. All you young boy ain't got no sense. I'm telling you from experience. A woman must love you more than you love she. Before you jump in matrimony, the one that you love, never marry to she. Is the one who love you, she gon' make you happy. Keep the one that you love on the side all the while. But the one who love you, take her straight down the aisle.
How about this one? When you sing song like this, you go feel it touch and go, you know.
Since I small, I heard them say, with pussycat you mustn't play. I was never one to disobey. I never touch a pussy from that day. A pussycat always look vex, 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 especially the female sex. You never know what they will do next. Guess I have a pussycat complex. Pussy could be just born. Time I see it, I gone afraid, afraid.
Afraid, pussy bite me.
I'm going to get a big stone to break all pussy backbone.
Afraid, afraid.
Afraid pussy bite me.
Now, this next story had nothing to do with this song, but congratulations to DeAndre Dotson on winning the first women's CPL. I ain't getting to watch much CPL games, to be honest, because I was just trying to school and doing CPL playing in the middle of the day, but I'm following a little bit. I'm trying to follow as much as I could follow. TKR doing all right. And you know what I find? When you're looking forward to a game like TKR versus the Patriots, because there's Bravo versus Pollard, which entertaining on and off the field, right? How come CPL don't play over them games? I think my old man was explaining to me that because you have so much foreign players and they're on a schedule, they can't really play over the games, they just share the points. But I would think that to make this tournament better and more exciting. The marquee teams had to play one another. That is the team that win the most versus the team that win last year would be one of the biggest matchups, I think, on the CPL calendar. I also find like with this idea, we stagnating a little bit and we rotating the same set of players. I like the addition of the women's tournament to it. Although they only had about 3 teams. I think we beat Barbados Royals and St. Lucia was the only other team in the women's. But that's good. That's a good start, you know what I mean? But I was listening to Bill Burr in his last stand-up comedy special. Bill Burr is one of the greatest stand-up comedians they ever had. And I agree with him 100% that women who like to talk about equal pay and equal rights and them kind of thing, I find like the women supposed to ram out the stadium when the women CPL playing. You know what I mean? Like Bill Burr saying all you watching men and blaming men because we don't support the women's sports and some man keeping all back from earning equal pay for the thing. The stadium empty, completely empty. It's like, why they can't build it? I know all the gates when you have the women's tournament, it's not going to be the biggest thing ever. But like I keep saying, when I was young going to school and things, it used to have days where you could go in the Oval and see West Indies for free. They used to have a schoolboy stand and they just carry the whole class and they could do things like that in the CPL. It was in St. Kitts, I believe, all those games play. Like bring out the school children and things, like just ram out the place and get them accustomed to the names, get them to know the stars, get them to learn the game. Because once them get out in, they're good. And a little percentage of them go start following the game and following the players, and then next year you could have 3 or 4 teams. I mean, I like the idea, but we could do so much better with that. I also find that one of the things we need to do fast is like put on a little Florida team. So the teams playing St. Kitts, Trinidad, Guyana, Jamaica, Barbados. Of course, we will keep doing that same routine. But let Florida do a franchise in Florida where some of the games playing over there, where people thirsty for cricket and they go and ram out the stadium anyway. I know the CPL play is more than likely for the Indian market, right? So that's why the games are the times that they have. They either put them in early morning India slots or late evening India slots. So that's why they start at 10 or 7 p.m. and that kind of thing. But I mean, if you have a little Florida thing where, you know what I mean, there's a different dynamic and the Yankees pick a little side, and rather than the same players rotating around, and I mean, you had to move around 5 or 6 marquee players to make the tournament interesting at all. And unfortunately, I'm looking to see where the next crop of marquee players coming from that could sell out, because you see Chris Gayle, Andrew Russell, Bravo, Pollard, Sammy, to a large extent, they have a lot of pull for both crowd and TV, if you ask me. But I'm not sure who you know, Puran. You know what I mean? I see recently. Salute to Lara. Lara put up some kind of coach. I think it's an IPL team. And then soon after, I see Lara on a Legends team. I ain't even pulling it up to tell you who's the legend. And it was embarrassing because West Indies cricket put it up in such a big way, like West Indies Legends on Instagram. And people immediately started wasting them down, telling them that it's only a one legend. The Lara is the only legend. People also went on to make their own list of legends to help them out. As if the West Indies cricket board don't know who the legends are. But that was not a good look at all. The idea that you have a legends team and Lara is the only recognizable name. But I think we slowly heading back to that same juncture, because I'm not sure who are the 5 or 6 marquee top level players that you could say will carry the CPL on when Pollard and these fellas step aside and retire. But for all intents and purposes, I'm glad to have some cricket on TV. Things going good where sports concerned. I'm sorry this wasn't the same time when I get injured, so that I could be watching this whole day, but at least I'll follow as much of it as I could follow. But I want to say salute to not just the women for winning it, but also for the CPL for coming up with the idea and putting a women's tournament on. And I hope that continues to grow from strength to strength. In other sports news, Chelsea is terrible. Sorry, ladies, I'll talk about Chelsea for a minute. They're hurting my heart here. They start with, they make some good buys. You have a team that looking like we getting better. You get a man $200 and something million to spend and then fire him immediately. This is the man who want to fight fight an extra. What the man name again? Who you want to fight? And last Chelsea coach, you want to fight the man over a game at Spurs? Like, dude, go on and lost 1-0. Just depressing. And now you're talking about the man who coaching Brighton as who they're going to replace. I hope them men go and get Zidane or somebody, because Liverpool ain't looking so good, but Liverpool are Klopp who going to turn the season around probably. Pep have Man City looking like a well-oiled machine, although they dropped some points already, which is a good sign. There's the time we're supposed to be trying to mash gas. But Man City have a little man child, they call the name Haaland. I don't know, boy. 22 years old, he's big, he's a beast. They need a bench here, so I find that his advantage. Remember when he was up small, he's a play sports and you see that advantage? That advantage. Nobody should be allowed to play Haaland at any point in time. That he just basically too big. Well, talking about too big, right? I want to play a couple more Sparrow that might make a man feel like if you want to get baptized, right? So as we talking about too big, you remember this? Yes.
Let me tell you this. Don't be afraid, I am the police. You wouldn't know me, but I want you to show me a girl around here they call Mildred. When I tell the Mr. Mildred is my sister, he jump up and then he said, Tell your sister to come down quick. I have something here for she.
What's your name?
Tell she is Mr. Ben Wooddick, the man from Sandy Grande. She know me well. I guess she already know. She must remember me. Go on, tell she Mr. Ben would come.
What about this? Listen, I talking to my father this week and he's singing Take Bamboo Girl. And he said, boy, these people who are writing music now crude. And this is a song from Hero. Alright, listen, I want to end with what I should have started with. I want to salute the great Machel Montano, the monk. The great one. This is what we should have started with, you know. As a matter of fact, from now on, they see all this kind of thing with putting the sports on the culture in the end, like what the news used to do a long time. Time to reverse this thing. I'm going to put the sports on the culture up front. But Machel Montano, on his 40th anniversary, has been an entertainer. Sold out the Barclays Center. I'm sure you see it on the Instagram. And had what looked like a great performance. Now, to tell you, like, I'm slowly but surely becoming the king of the uninformed. But I'm blaming it on my foot. Because, to be honest with you, I didn't realize it was Labor Day. I keep seeing him advertising this show. And thinking to myself, like, well, why would Machel do a show on the day school opening back? You know what I mean? I thinking, like, September. Why would that be a good time? School opening back here, school opening back in the States. Like, is that the best time to do a concert, like on a random Monday? You know what I mean? Not realizing it's Labor Day. I was talking to my partner Edmund too. He in Canada, and he telling me, well, boy, it's Labor Day. I thinking it's Labor Day in Canada. He's like, yeah, Machel have a show. I say, well, I have a show over there. No, boy, in New York is Labor Day. I was like, wait, no, it's Labor Day. I had no idea. Completely lost in the Gideon here. But I want to salute to him because Machel is one of the, he's one of the few soca artists. It's just a handful of people who could probably pull off a show that big at the Barclays Center and sell it out at a production quality like he typically does. I saw somebody put in the comments or ask in the comments if it's something that he going and take on the road. Like if you're going to bring that to Trinidad or do the show in other places. I hope he does because there had some little elements of this show from what I could see that I really liked, and it might be a show that I'm willing to. If you give me a VIP ticket and a drive-through thing where I could sing and get handicap parking, I'm willing to go there too because I can't make this standing up, no? If it's in the stadium, I could get a seat maybe. But there are a few elements that I like a lot. First and foremost, in the beginning of the show, it seemed as though, or what seemed like the beginning of the show, he had Taurus Riley come out and sing She's Royal to honor his mother. I find that was a nice touch. You know, the mother that's done so much in his career, and to make him help put him where he is over a 40-year career and help keep him on track for them 40 years. And also as somebody who accomplished in her own right, because she has the King of Soca book, she's behind the chocolates and so on. So much that she does to maintain his presence as an icon in the business for so much years. And I just want you to appreciate how hard that is to do. I just want you to think of it in any genre of music. How much of your favorite artists have come and gone? Like they come and go all the time. There are some people who hot and they come with thing, but for Machel to be producing at the level that he's produced for 40 years, forget all titles and all them things aside where you say he and Chinese Laundry Doctor up the Road March and his Soca Mafia. Forget all that. Just delivering that quality of music and this quality of production for so many years is an amazing accomplishment to me, and it's something that we had to salute, regardless of what you think about the individual. That ain't easy to do. 40 years ago is 1982. Me know how to count so well, no? 82, 92, 2002, 2012. Machel, you sure it's 40? What is he celebrating? He definitely ain't come out in 92. 92, 2002, 2012, 2022. Machel ain't come out in no 92. He was out before that. So I don't know what exactly. I'm missing something here. What is the 40 years that Machel talking about? Machel was out in the 80s. 40 years of Machel Montano. Okay. I don't know what this means. Hey, I should have prepared this before I come here to talk to it, because now this have me utterly confused. Is it that 40 years? Let me minus this thing and make sure I'm making a fool of myself, because 2022, that's my only hope to get this right. 2022 minus 40. Yes, 2022 minus 40 is 1982. All right, forget everything I just said. 1982, that's what I'm trying to tell him. My maths is so going to know. So 40 years of Machel Montano. I like the idea that he was able to take a minute and salute his mother. Just last week, I come on Bad Talk radio announcers for being informed. I'm in the same boat now. I know it's 40. All right, so 82 to 2002. Just pretending ain't hear nothing what just happened, right? And salute to him. And taking that minute to make his mother a part of the center of attention, who has been in the background for so long. It was just a nice thing to see. We forget how honorable it was, or how it was just nice to see. And the song that he chose, She's Royal, you could see one of the videos going around where his mother seemed to enjoy that. So salute to Liz Lady Montano as well. Some other elements that I liked before I get to the main show. I saw a little exchange between him and Kevin Crown backstage. That was really nice to see. Now, Kevin Crown, coincidentally, is somebody I admire a lot, because Kevin Crown just full of surprises. From the little bit I followed him, I only know about him a lot since I started to go Private Ryan Fett, right? And as far as I'm concerned, Private Ryan Fett, all of them is playing the same thing, so nobody was really standing out in any way. The one Private Ryan Fett I went where a DJ standout was Puffy a year. But I remember seeing Kevin Crown. He was good. I mean, he was good. And I guess Instagram and thing, you keep following them. And then somewhere out of the blue, in the pandemic, Major Hype and them had Song Clash thing. And next time I see Kevin Crown coming in Song Clash. But I see what Kevin Crown is. So come on, what you going to play? And this man have artillery of dub plates that you don't want to go around Kevin Crown. You know what I mean? Kevin Crown had dubs. He's no joke when it comes to dub plates, right? And I was like, all right, this man have vibes. He's different. Next time I'm watching the Instagram again, he have a black belt 3rd degree or something. So this is easily one of the most interesting people I've followed. I don't know anything about him beyond what I see on Instagram. But I saw the exchange between him and Machel Montano backstage, where Machel, it seemed as though he was going to Machel to tell him thanks so much for including him in this, and it's an honor and a pleasure. And he wanted to tell him as well that, listen, I don't see myself as a DJ, I see myself as a performer, which is true, which is why he catch my eye that time, because he is energetic, and that's what the black belt and thing come into it, because he was up and down. It was something to see with Kevin Crown, right? But he wanted to tell Machel that, listen, the reason I consider myself an entertainer and I take my stage performance from you, I try to pattern myself after what you do and make sure that I deliver that way for people. But it seemed as though even before he could say that, Machel getting a trim, right? You know what I mean? Fixing up the beard and everything. It seemed as though they're backstage getting ready to go on stage. And Machel told him, It has something I always wanted to tell you, boy. You know what I mean? It was there for me. Say it at that time, I was at one of my lowest points. I was feeling really down. Now, coincidentally, it was when he sang the song Conch Shell. And I don't know if he was feeling down because he himself know Conch Shell wasn't good at all, but he was going to win everything. I don't know if that's why he was feeling down, but whatever. He was feeling down and thing. And he said he was one of his lowest moments and he didn't want to be there. And he said when he looked around for his brethren and the people who to help carry him through that period, he said none of them was there. He said then when he looked around, he see Kevin singing back up and pushing him through and gaining him a strength and gaining him a vibes. And he said, I tell myself, one day I have to tell you thanks for that. And what was so genuine about the moment is Kevin Crown seemed to genuinely in the moment not remember what that was at all. Because he was literally saying like, me? Like, you sure? You know, it's almost like if he felt he had done nothing for Machel, when Machel had that as something that he had revered for what he had done or appreciated so much. And it's just one of them little lessons, you know me, right? I get sentimental at some point, but it's just one of them things in life where you just kind of never know who watching you and who looking up to you and who appreciating the effort. And while you might see somebody as on a pedestal, that person might be watching you the same way, you know, watching you as, listen, you really appreciate the efforts that person make for you and so on. And sometimes you have to tell people, that's one of my resolutions, you know, about 3-4 years ago, one of my resolutions was that I want to tell people when they had an impact on my life. And maybe that is one of the reasons I like the podcast, because it gives me the opportunity to say some things that maybe, you know, as man, you feel uncomfortable to say some things to people's face and so on. And I get to show some of my appreciation in a room by myself that somebody might hear one day. You know what I mean? But I just found that was a real good moment. But onto the show. Machel knows how to put on a show, so that's never going to be an issue in terms of his show and his production and so on. But I was really happy to see him bring out Fair and Lions, who, no disrespect to Destra or Patrice, I mean, he had custom performing with Patrice. I guess Destra couldn't be there. But Fair and Lions is by right one of the queens of the art form, or the queens of the genre, right? And he would have bring out his, like I would say, Angela Hunt would usually perform with him, Patrice Roberts there, but I've never seen Machel and Fayan on a stage together before. I don't know if I'm mistaken about that, but for a little birdie tell me like, you know, this was them not like one another too much, and he didn't like, she was really not on he when the Machel and the Bungie was playing thing, and she used to be vexed backstage and all them things. A little birdie tell me so sorry, I know, right? And it was just good to see Fayan on stage then, because I know, I mean, last week I talked about Pompey, and I know what Pompey would have mean to them, and to see him go like that, and then to see Fayan on a stage like this. I didn't expect it at all. Now that I see the flyer was clearly posted on his Instagram that said that Fayan and Bungie was going to be there. But Fayan do her own little set on the stage, and it was something else to see them together. One thing I didn't understand though, I know the Kanye West thing about covering up your whole face, right? But I didn't understand why Fayan on a stage like that. You know, he's selling out the Barclays is such a big event. Why would you cover up your whole face? Like, you wouldn't want that FaceTime? I know, but she's much more astute marketer than me, because it's clear that her outfit was one of the most talked about things on the night. So maybe I should shut up about that. I was glad to see me and know the man name, you know, but he sing, sometimes I feel I've got to run away, I've got to. What your name, Walker? I think it's Walker. I don't know if you was fetting when Machel had that song. Running and the running and the running. I remember being in the Oval one of the times, and that same, am I getting the name right? Boy, I think it's Walker, you know. Boy, if it's not Walker, things bad. But I think it's Walker. But Walker. I see him on Instagram now. Yeah, so when Walker come out on that stage back in the day, he had an energy, he had a whole vibe that was, he just embraced the soca and embraced the Trinidadian stage. And he used to destroy them fets long time along with Machel. And you see Walker has some good age, and now Walker looking, according to Patrice, still old and grey. But the man have a little dip wine and a low joke and all these things. So salute to Walker for coming and add a little vibe to the thing. And for everybody, Super Blue came out, of course. That was a special moment to see him out there and doing Soca Kingdom and them songs. And I like what Machel do it. I know that the what you call it now? How do you call this thing again, man? Machel Monday. I know Machel Monday wrap up now and is on to Melee Cruise and so on, but it's good to see him do a concert type event. I think this is something that especially the older soca artists had to do more of. Because, you know, I was just looking coincidentally before I wrap up, I was listening to Khaled album and listening to that God Did song where people saying it's Jay-Z best verse ever, right? If you don't listen, if you interrupt, check it out. So this is DJ Khaled, Lil Wayne, Rick Ross, John Legend, Jay-Z, Friday. Who am I missing? I think that's it. And the verse from Jay-Z really is, but I mean, I don't know if it's one of Jay-Z's best verses or not. I ain't no rap enough to judge that, but it was good because he was talking about from where he come to where he is today, being a billionaire and so on. But I hear rap artists talking more and more now about them being booked right through and being legacy acts, right? So a legacy act, you're not dependent on a hit. So as if you're hot this year or you ain't hot or you have a big song. I think soca suffers from that a lot. Like if you're a big artist, if you don't have a big song this year, you're in trouble. But I mean, we had to create spaces for legacy acts to be able to perform. Like I tell you, I was talking to Iwo one time and he was talking about, I don't know when I will get to sing some of them songs again. Everywhere I go is a run-on and a 5-minute performance. Iwo is somebody who should be able to do a world tour. Let me call it a soca world tour in all these soca arenas or places that into soca. And do a show for hour and a half, you know what I mean? So that the Machel show was the doors opening at 7 p.m. DJs play from 8 to 8:30. Showtime was 8:30, I think, to 10 o'clock, and you're done. You know what I mean? It's not to say it's a whole night show like what we put on. I wonder if there's not a space for somebody like Iowa to do something like that. Nadia Batson, Kest, their catalog. Now, outside of just the Kest Tuesday and making it into a whole festival. Just give us a whole production and a whole performance where we could take in you and your catalog and move that worldwide so that everybody could see you and everybody could become a part of that. If Machel is 40 in the business, Iowa George could be about 40. You know, it would be nice to see a collaboration like that where the same type of production could go into Iowa because there's a lot of years of hits. But salute to Machel. I'm glad that they got that done, and are hoping, as the person asked, that it becomes something that they move around. All right, I got time to get out of here. But I just want to play one of my favoriteest Sparrows. A few. It has some songs that I can't, let me just say I can't leave out. I've been warned not to leave out. Because just like how Machel will go on that stage and, like Sparrow, Machel have a huge catalog of music. But they have some songs where if Machel come in them place and do sing them songs, it could lead to problems. That could cause a riot. And they have some songs like that in this podcast too, where we can't talk about Sparrow. Baptized or not, all the joke we make and salute. And I'm so happy for Sparrow that he find a life that he feel, you know, will make him better. And he find God later on in life. Again, the message here is never too late, right? But it has someone who says Sparrow songs, it has something you had to play, right?
Well, it's Jean and Dinah, Rosita and Clementina, round the corner posing. That your life is something they're selling. And if you catch them broke, you can get them all for nothing. Don't make a run. The Yankees gonna Sparrow take over. Ah, Jean and Dinah, Rosita and Clementina, round the corner posing. That your life is something they're selling. And if you catch them broke, you can get them all for nothing. Don't make a run. The Yankees gonna Sparrow take over now. Well, the girls in town feeling bad. No more Yankees in Trinidad. They're gonna close down the base for good. Them girls have to make out how they could. Hey, brothers, now they park up in town. In for a penny and in for a pound. Believe me, it's competition. So traveling the town when the price drop low. So when you bounce up Jean and Dinah, Rosita and Clementina, round the corner posing. That's your life is something they're selling. And if you catch them broke, you can get them all for nothing. Don't make a run. The Yankees gonna Sparrow take over. Ah, Jean and Dinah, Rosita and Clementina, round the corner posing. That's your life is something they're selling. And if you catch them broke, you can get them all for nothing. Don't make a run. The Yankees gonna Sparrow take over now. Things bad as to hear them cry. Not a sailor in town, the night clubs cry. Only West Indians like me or you go in to get a drink or two. Brother, as we have things back in control, I seek in revenge in the is to see how the cavemen come into town just to meet Miss Jean and Dinah, Rosita and Clementina. Round corner posing, but your life is something they're selling. And if you catch them broken, you can get them all for nothing. Don't make a wrong. The Yankees gonna Sparrow take over. Ah, Jean and Dinah, Rosita and Clementina. Round the corner posing, bet your life is something they're selling. And if you catch them broken, you can get them all for nothing. Don't make a wrong. The Yankees gonna Sparrow take over now.
Yes. You can't play, you want to play a Sparrow episode and think about why Sparrow baptized and you ain't play this, right?
Well, they're playing bad, they have me feeling sad. Well, they're playing beast, why they run for police? Then criminal attack me outside them rama. Way down Henry Street by HCM Walker. About 10 in the night on the 5th of October. They say how I pushed the girl from Grenada. I said the leader of the gang was hot like a pepper. And every man in the gang had a white handle razor. Well, I'm back, continually fall in the gutter. Well, you see my position of the police in the area. Well, I start to sweat, man, I'm soaking wet. Mama, so much sweat. That's a night I can't forget. 10 of them against me with 50 spectators. And the way they coming up like they want to devour. But in the heat of the excitement is then I remember. In my next pants pocket I forget me wedger. I don't know what to do, but I just can't surrender. So they go cut me down as a smallest pretender. You could imagine how the plan was to be go in the river. But as the crowd started to gather, I started to shiver.
Wait, it's still have a few I can't leave out. You know. A matter of fact, I feel I will leave you with this one. When last you hear this, and now again, the message in this episode with Kalonji would throw the whole thing and salute to Sparrow again. But it's never too late. It's never too late. Whatever you're looking for, it's still very, very findable. But just remember things like this too, right?
When you drink that wine, and you drink it red, and you reach for the pillow, missing the whole damn bed, you ain't drunk. You have been drinking. Say yeah. Say yeah. Hell yeah. But when you drink that West Indian rum, and you drink it fast, then you reach for your woman, and you miss her. You're drunk. You're drunk. You're drunk and disorderly. Drunk and disorderly. Always in custody with friends and with family. All man fed up with me cause I'm drunk and disorderly. Every weekend I in the jail. Drunk and disorderly. Nobody to stand me bail.
Drunk and disorderly, always in custody. All man fed up with me. Drunk and disorderly. Drunk and disorderly, nobody to stand me bail.
Drink and drunk, yes, that's my name. Always make me family shame. Like Marianne all day, all night. It's Christmas, every day is Christmas. I could drink me rum, trust, till me belly bust. Until I get drunk and disorderly, always in custody, my friends and my family. All man fed up with me cause I'm drunk and disorderly. Every weekend I in the jail, drunk and disorderly, nobody to stand me bill.
Drunk and disorderly, always in custody.
Every weekend I in the jail, drunk and disorderly, nobody to stand my bail. I will see you all in next week.